So the first question I remember is about stubbornness over meekness. I think that stubbornness is unconditionally terrible in an argument. I mean, if you're not even listening to the other person or just listening so you can take their arguments apart, so like not constructive at all, it's not even an argument. You're not trying to get anything out of it. It's just like a one-way ramble where you're trying to just be mean and hurtful and, you know, try and basically throw insults at the other person or something like that. And it's quite interesting that yesterday I got this thing on Uber. There's this interesting conception of I-thou dialogue, which is where you try to find a niche for both people, not for trying to get to a conclusion of sorts, which would be like more of a stubborn thing, but just to get an understanding and a kind of tolerance and open-mindedness about people, which I feel is more of a meek point of view. It's not so much about meekness though, as about humbleness. I think that's the term I use more because it's something that I'm much more connected to. With meekness, it's pretty much about, like, when you say you're being meek, it sounds like you're just giving up to the other side, whereas being humble is that you put aside your prejudices and you see yourself more as a student who's willing to learn if there's something to be learned. So you're still able to retain your own kind of core point of view, but you're able to open yourself to other points of view. Being humble and this whole thing of the I-thou dialogue is that you create a very subjective, specialized bond between two people. When you're stubborn, you always kind of treat people in the same two-dimensional manner, I feel. Whereas if you're humble, you kind of have this very special features that you're able to identify from the other person. You're able to recognize their good side. Blah, blah, blah. Sorry that the lighting's different. I am now refilming this, and it was getting dark outside, and if you don't believe me, you have been warned, Mr. Bond. Anyways, here's what I was gonna say before. Humbleness is a kinder point of view, I believe, whereas stubbornness will promote justice and eye for an eye, vengeful thinking, with this belief that you are right. Humbleness will promote mercy. If people do mistakes, they can let it go. It promotes more love and happiness, and if you're a hedonist or generally sensible, it's something that you're looking for to promote in your life. I'd say just being humble, or yeah, just being meek is just giving up. But if you say humbleness is the key to dialogue, and as Martin Buber says, all actual life is dialogue. I completely agree with him. It is language that makes man, it is language that allows man to think, it is language that we are able to express ourselves in, and language is a beautiful thing. And a couple of links. First one will be to TED down in the underbar below, or doobly-doo, or doobly-doo, Dumbledore? Doobly-doo. Never thought I'd say that. Anyways, down in doobly-doo will be a TED Talks talk, which is about the other, because we all kind of have one point that we're so stubborn about that we won't be open-minded about, and that it's very destructive, and we always see people two-dimensionally, and as John Green would disagree with you. So that's down below. I very much urge you to see it. And second of all, Cassie HP, of course, I'll give you a couple of links for those because I just admire her so much, and it's an amazing, she knows what she's doing. Okay, second question. I'm taking ages. Should one do things one does not want to solely for another's benefit? And yes, it's called humbleness. We just discussed it. However, there's a couple of things. It's a bit subjective. First of all, I'd say it depends to what ends. Will the person use the service granted properly? Or is it like they're just devaluing your own time? Or are they just kind of trying to ride on your own hard work? And I'd say there must be limits too, and those are individual, like how much of your own time are you willing to give up for someone else? I'd say giving up your own time, waiting for no reward is quite a moral thing, but I'd say that they have to be able to know that you might want to use your own time for something that maybe you're able to share with more people and gives you more satisfaction. And for this one, I'd just like to quickly quote, most likely Buddhism quote, which is that And it's about, happiness doesn't lose its value when you share it. And that's something that people don't understand most of the time. Third question, is liking more than one people wrong? Again, for this one I'll link to a TED Talk, and I think that's quite an interesting question. And it's very much connected more to your upbringing, I'd say, than your actual view. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Basically, in the TED Talk, she says that we're hardwired to like 3 people. One is a biological short-term love, which is sexual or something, and that is more of a... it's more biologically oriented. Second one is a middle term, which is romantic love, which allows you to kind of get this perseverance and be rewarded for what you're doing. And third one is this feeling of safety, and it's what keeps people together, which is very biologically preferable, because if you're gonna have few offspring, you need them to have it be very easily guarded, so that they're raised better. And maybe we're, allowed to like even more than one person per like category. With my belief that people are taught tolerance of like lesbians, gays, bisexual, transgender, the LGBT thing. I also have a belief that liking more than one person is just another barrier. And if you think about it objectively, it's like saying your best friend has to have a certain gender or color, or that you're only allowed to have one best friend, which, let's face it, is completely ridiculous. Also, you can't be completely complimented by one person. We know this. You can't just have one friend. If you're stuck in an island, it's not, you can't have a healthy relationship, Imagine being in an island with only one person. Now, think, say, like, with 3. Is that better? I mean, I'd say it's easier to cool down, to keep healthy relationships, but you be the judge of that. And further, ideally, love shouldn't be exclusive. That actually cramps your reasoning quite a lot. Like, love should be something that's good, not something that that promotes hate against people, in a way, because they're not loved as much. It shouldn't be exclusive. And it's also a question of self-interest. Allowing your love only to be with one other person is a question of self-interest and confidence in a way, more so than morality, if morality is at all involved in sexual matters. Apart from, maybe loyalty. Again, Cassie HP. If you're good enough, though, reasoning should solve it. That's another belief of mine. If the liking more than one person, if reason is able to promote that view, then it's right. Fourth question, do I change around other people? I feel that my behavior is very chameleon-like, I guess because of that I-thou dialogue I don't understand. It's because, you're trying to find a niche where you're with those people that, you're very much comfortable with, and where you feel that you're getting something out of that relationship, which doesn't mean it has to be self-serving, because that's it's monologue, my friends. Okay, also is that, though I have plenty of thoughts and like to talk about them, I like even better to think that those thoughts are, impersonal, because I don't like the me part of conversations. I don't very much like the belief that I should be selfish or just think about me. I feel that I've just, that all that happens to happen is that you're endowed with thoughts and then they come out the other end, because really you don't go, I'm going to think this next, because by then you've already thought it. So I like to think that thoughts could have happened independently of me, as could any given conversation, any given interaction with other people as a result of that. So I just happen to be handed the right thoughts and information to deal with the situation. Skills. No, anyways, off topic. But yeah, I do feel I change and open different parts of myself to different people, hence those that I feel I need to impress, I try to open a corresponding part. I don't try to force things too much, and sometimes it just happens that if it's a person I'm not very compatible with, then we just don't get as close. No worries, I still have intact respect for them though. Little epiphanies? All the time. Here are some.